What is something perfectly legal that feels illegal? Having something of yours in your pocket while in a store that also sells that thing. I once brought in with me a bottle of water, and got hassled for it, and I was buying other items. So like yeah, I really needed to steal that 30-cent bottle of water. Anyway, they checked the cameras and apologized rather unenthusiastically. Fuck them and their rather unenthusiastic apology. Where TF you buying individual waters for 30 cents per bottle? Feels the same as walking into a store and then leaving without buying anything. No. Seriously. I was just checking my checking account balance on your ATM. I'm not stealing anything. I sometimes feel that guilt when I walk into a store. Especially if it's a small family-run business. I walk around, looking at all the cool things. But either nothing really calls to me or I can't afford the things that do. So I feel guilty as I walk out, as I did really enjoy browsing the store, but they got nothing for that enjoyment. I need to get over myself, smiley face. I accidentally stole some hooks from IKEA the other day. The night before, me and my girlfriend went and bought a few things from there. Including hooks. When we got home we couldn't find them. I went back the next day with the receipt to the customer service to see if maybe the lady forgot them. Now, I don't normally go to IKEA. So the only way I know how to get to the checkout area is to go through the entire fucking store first. I passed by the hooks we bought and thought, I'll just grab the same ones again real quick in case I need to describe them or something, I don't know. Just a weird thought. Mind you, the hooks are small enough to fit in your pocket. I go through all of the nonsense. Turns out they didn't have them. They even had security check the cameras and they can see the attendant put them in the bin we bought. I drove all the way home, like 20 minutes, and I realized I had the hooks in my pocket. Plus, I found the original hooks in the bin we bought. Now I have 2 sets of hooks. Filling out government forms. I answer honestly, but constantly feel like I'm going to misinterpret a question and somehow commit some manner of bureaucratic felony. ARE the capture effect, where things you've understood implicitly and without error all your life suddenly become the world's most difficult questions. Does that count as a sign? Are those streetlights? Does that count as a car? Am I a human or a robot? I don't know. Is the information you've provided in this document full and truthful, motherfucker? Ha. Or JEEZE. Was it May that I graduated or April? I can't remember. I had to fill out a massive form for a security clearance. And then do an interview with an investigator, who got extremely heated over the fact that I didn't work or take classes during college breaks. The form basically requires every detail of your entire life. I just got done with that process today. Thankfully my investigator was chill and helpful. I asked him what the best answer to the question like, have you ever aided a terrorist act, was. And he just laughed and said he's never got an exciting answer and that would be a lot of paperwork for him if he had. Doing anything but in sight of a police car. They pull up behind me and I'm suddenly running a list in my head of all the illegal things I might have done. Registration, up to date. Car inspection, up to date. Am I drunk? No. You actually don't drink. Hi. Not today. Weed, safely hidden at home. For me the reason is that they can literally make up a reason to pull you over at any given time. And for anyone that says they can't, let me ask you this. Does a court require proof that you swerved while driving if it's the cop's word against your own? What if I haven't cleaned my car out and there's something on the ground like a rock or donut glaze and the cop that pulled me over for no reason says it's meth and now I have to go through hours or even days of bullshit? Lose money from work, just to prove myself innocent. The postal police parked right in front of me the other day as I was sitting in my car browsing Reddit and immediately I thought, shit, did I commit mail fraud and not even know it? Postal inspectors don't play around. You were probably right to be worried. Driving when near a cop. Everyone in front of me feels the same way. Speed limit of 80. Everyone cruising at 85. Cop passes, lights off. Everyone shows down to 75. I've had cops tell me they can't stand that. They want to go places too, and everyone around them starts driving 10 under. Going into Costco, eating all the free samples, then walking out. It's legal, but I feel like a scumbag when I do it. LMAO. That's probably how they want you to feel. So you feel obligated to buy something. There are people at my Costco that show up specifically for that. I really wouldn't have a problem with them. But they wait for 10 fucking minutes at each sample station and stand in the middle of the aisle, not allowing me to move around them. That's when it gets annoying. You mean going out for dinner? Bringing home a newborn infant. But the catch is that it's gotta be yours. Right? Just making sure. IANAL. But I'm pretty sure it's finders keepers. I still can't believe they do that at the hospital. Okay. Here's the human. Off you go. True story, my first child was a C-section baby. Lots of build-up leading to the surgery. Surgery goes fine. After all the basic checks, they wheel my wife off to recovery, swaddle my son, and put him in the bassinet cart. All the medical staff moved on to their next thing and left me standing there with him. I actually stammered to a nurse, what do I do now? You don't even have to go to the hospital, you can pop one out in your bathtub if you want. Driving home with a newborn in the back for the first time makes you realize how many assholes and potholes there are on the road. Ripping off a few bananas before you buy them from the grocery store if you don't want the whole bundle. I once witnessed a friend of mine buy a single banana and I was shook. I did this all the time in college. Especially before going out. It's the best way to get cash back. Only costs like 20 cents. You get your cash back with minimal spending. And you get a quick healthy snack. Walking through nothing to declare at the airport and having a nagging concern that just maybe you managed to pack 5 kilos of cocaine. A handgun. Several tons of pest-infested fruit and 2,000 cigarettes over the tobacco limit. It's always a gamble. But I've been lucky so far. I accidentally took a fairly large knife onto a flight from the US to UK once, in cabin luggage, and all was fine until I landed. As I was heading over to nothing to declare, I was pulled aside. Explaining that away was tough. And it was confiscated. I don't see what the point was at that point. I'd forgotten to hijack the plane, so what's the harm in me bringing a completely clean knife into the country? Conversely, I accidentally tried to take a plastic knife from some fancy dress outfit onto a flight from France to the UK but was pulled aside by French airport security. I hate it when I accidentally pack my 5 kilograms of cocaine. It's so heavy to lug around the airport. Turning the light on inside the car when you're driving. I called my mom out when I realized recently, it's not illegal, you lied to me. You know what this woman says? Are you sure? My mom always told me it was illegal. 53 years my mother believed her mother's lie and passed it on to her kids. 53 years. This seems like exactly the kind of thing that led to Aboriginal peoples developing rituals to bathe in mud or bury the dead or something. Centuries from now we'll turn out the lights in our starships because it's illegal to blot out the stars. Oh, the lies. I have yet to forgive my parents. I'd be interested in where this started because it's not just Americans. I'm Hispanic and my parents told me the same thing. Driving 250+ km/h on the German autobahn. especially when crossing the border from another country and you can drive so much faster that you're used to from the country you made holiday in. The autobahn is fucking terrifying. I remember when my ex let me drive her car for a while. I pulled out to pass someone just as I noticed a BMW in the rearview mirror. By the time I'd pulled back over into the slow lane, it had already gone flying past me. Truly insane speed. It felt like I'd stumbled onto a Formula 1 track by accident. Yeah, some people really floor it. Interestingly, the distance-adjusted death rate is quite a bit lower on the autobahn compared to generic routes. I drove through Germany this summer in a 130 horsepower 3-ton motorhome that could barely do 120 km per hour downhill with a tailwind. Changing lanes to pass a truck was terrifying. It's why car inspection is so much stricter in Europe. In the US almost anything is deemed road legal. But imagine a critical suspension or steering part blowing out at 110 miles per hour. That's 154 miles per hour for all you Yankees. Marrying someone for their money. Then divorcing them and taking almost everything. I don't love you anymore, give me half your stuff. This isn't my original idea, but going through customs at the airport you always feel like you've done something wrong, like what if I accidentally have a gun? I don't even own a gun. But what if I accidentally have a gun? How would I explain that? Is this pen I packed on the list of banned items? What if it is? What if I accidentally brought a knife? What if I accidentally have fireworks? Walk into an Ulta beauty store and spraying some expensive cologne from the tester bottle before going to your interview. Update: no, I don't overdo it. I like light smells. Too heavy and I get a headache as well. Something that's fresh because I want to feel like a new car going into an interview or a date or wherever I have that's somewhat important or gives a good first impression. I once went into Ulta and left with a full face of makeup from trying new things. I didn't buy anything and probably would have felt guilty, but I was tipsy. Don't feel guilty. Feel disgusted. Samples are almost impossible to disinfect.